Canny Chatter is sponsored by Tyre Spot, the North East leading tyre supplier with branches across the region. Tyre Spot don't just do tyres, they cover everything from servicing to wheel alignment. They can handle every aspect of your car's maintenance. For more information, visit tyrespot.co.uk. Enjoy the episode.
Hi everybody, welcome to Canny Chatter on the Gallagher Chats YouTube and podcast channel. It's Scott here, and this week we're doing a Carabao Cup special episode of Canny Chatter. As you can probably tell from my voice and probably some of the other voices, we're a little bit still fragile, a little bit still hungover. My voice is completely gone still from the weekend, but we thought we'd get together, we'd do an episode of Canny Chatter. Ian's chomping at the bit to finish the Scranpoins League. And also, we're just going to talk about the weekend that was and just everything glorious about that magical, magical weekend. I'm joined by Joe, I'm joined by Ian, and I'm also joined by Chris. And also, we're live. Hello, everyone. Everyone can see with this time. It's not just members. It isn't just for everybody in the Telegram group and everybody who's members. We're actually live on YouTube. So get your comments in. How was your weekend? Let me all know. We're going to be just talking. Going to go for about an hour talking about the weekend. Boys, I mean, I still can't believe it, but how's it going? Like, how many times have you all watched it back? Because I've watched it about 3 or 4 times already. But Ian, mate, it was your stag do. Let's get that out of the way with. So if anyone who was down there, do you want to explain to them what you were dressed as and why you were dressed as it?
Well, some would say that I looked like a bird ninja.
No one would say you were a bird ninja.
You were getting called a lot of things. It wasn't that.
Yeah. Someone literally called us it. Was some. I'm sure they were Millwall fans or something because we're like proper, looked like hard Cockney geezers. Like, yeah, he's not a fucking penguin. He's a pigeon ninja. I was like, oh, all right, mate. I just agreed with everything that they said, so I didn't get my head smashed in. So where do I start? I mean, I was worried about what I was going to be dressed as. And then Chris and Decker rocked up to pick me and my mate up. And Chris had a bag of goodies. The first
not those sort of goodies. Calm down.
Not really good goodies for everyone that wanted to laugh at me, basically. I think the first thing that he pulled out was a nice pair of nylon tights, which made us a bit worried. Lovely tutu, this balaclava thing, a beak, and some bird feet. Oh, and me magpie wings as well. So yeah, that had to pretty much wear that the entirety of the Saturday. I completely forgot I had it on in the car, and then it was like the first stop at the services. I was like, I've got to get out in public and have people look at it, basically. And then I had a disaster with one of my feet, and one of my feet slapped. But me being the adaptive guy that I am, I fixed that because was I shite going through any of the forfeits for losing any item of my costume. But yeah, I was dressed as a giant magpie / bird.
You were, and you made it. You got famous as well. You made it on Sky Sports News.
I did. Not through my choosing. So obviously, the people were. I mean, you were with us at the time. I think Joe wanted to take a picture of me with the giant Newcastle top that was at the top of Covent Garden. There was a couple of people just asking for pictures and stuff, and then there was a bloke and a wife with 2 little lads, and we're like, "Oh, can we get a picture of this?" I was like, "Yeah, no," but I seen a man with a camera just panning round, and in my head, I'm thinking like, "Oh, I hope that's for like the Shields Gazette or something." And then 2 minutes later, I seen the same cameraman with Keith Downey, so I was like, "Okay," and then obviously got sent the picture. I don't know how long I was on for because it was literally just a still.
It was like dog justice for birds, wasn't it?
A little bit, yeah.
It was more like fathers for justice.
It there were a lot of comments like that, the Dark Justice comments banded about in the group chats, but it was all in good fun. What a weekend to have a stag do, because this will now go down as the best stag do in the history of stag do's.
It was, and Joe, mate, me and you, we met at the what did they call it? Was it the Tyndall Arms or the Mag Dog and I can't remember the actual name of it, but
Mad
the Dolphin.
Dog and
There you go,
Mad Dog and Mags.
There you go. You kept your cup. That was good. That was a fun little bar. Yeah,
It was lush, yeah. So, I mean, my journey started down. I mean, I was coming over from Merseyside, and I purposely didn't get the train from Lime Street. I got it from Chester because I knew that would be a big mistake. But when I was changing a crew, I happened to bump into a fellow mag, Tom, if you're listening. Cheers for the Gregs and the cans on the way down. It was really nice just chatting with the fellow Geordie on the way down there. We met with his dad and some of his mates at King's Cross and went over to the Dolphin, which was rebranded the Mad Dog and Mags for the weekend. And it was a great time. There were loads of Geordies there from early on. People just out in the streets, in the bar, having, soaking up the atmosphere, people trickling in from King's Cross throughout the day. So it was great. And I was there for about an hour or something before I met yourself. You obviously came in from Heathrow, and we had a pint there before we headed off. But it was just lush to get the atmosphere in. It was. I think everyone just knew that it was going to be an absolutely smashing weekend from the start, and so it turned out to be. Yeah.
It was absolutely. And Chris, mate, obviously we all know that. Well, Ian's already spoiled it for you, but you drove down on the day with Ian in the back dressed as the magpie. How did you not crash the car every time you looked in the rearview mirror and you saw Ian?
you know what the best thing was? Obviously, the trip down was great because we only stopped twice, wasn't it? Only went at 2 services, but obviously all the services were full of Newcastle fans, and everybody was like just taking photos. You can see everybody nudging each other. Going, look at this idiot walking in here. Obviously, being Ian. It was great. Do you know what it is? Like the funniest thing was when we're driving along the motorway, people double taken on Ian just sat in the back of the peak on.
So who the fuck's this?
You can't see the rest of the outfit more from the peak.
You just seen a one big peak.
Yeah.
Someone described you as a really, really shit ultra.
I think that was me. I think I described you as that.
It was like, you know what it is? It was a like I wasn't dreading the drive because I don't mind driving at all. I think it was more the fact that I wasn't drinking. The rest of the lads had having a fair few cans. I'm thinking I don't fancy stopping like 20 times while these are sinking like the dozens of cans. But we only stopped twice. Like we absolutely flew into it. The longest part was after we dropped Ian off at his hotel in Paddington, getting out of there because it took us past like Kensington and like Notting Hill. I'm guessing at one point, and I'm like, why are we here? And it was just stop. It took us 40 minutes to get 6 miles. We how
wow.
But yeah, after that, we're straight in the hotel room, cracked open a couple of cans, then just headed straight out. Best.
Yeah, I had quite a similar experience actually, because obviously I flew in from Amsterdam, which is like, it was weird. I took off at 11:45 and landed at 12:05. And it's not because it's a really fast flight. It's just with the hour difference to go back. But yeah, it's like an hour and 15 or whatever it is to fly over. But my actual tube journey from Heathrow to King's Cross took 2 hours. So it actually was longer on the tube than it was to fly over. And that was the biggest problem to go.
Do you know what it is, right?
To go meet
like,
Joe.
I know this is a very northern thing to say, but London's fucking massive.
It's huge.
You're looking on the map, right? You're looking on the map and you're going, I could walk in half an hour. And you click on walk and you, how long will it take? 4 days to walk.
Yeah.
I was like, it's just there to there.
Yeah. Yeah. Joe, we also met Dan, who's in the chat. Dan Ewan. He's put a little message up saying it was nice to meet you. How did the Magpie get on with the challenges? Well, we did some challenges later on, Ian, and you did very, very well. But I'm applauding you.
To be fair.
You smashed them. You did every single one that we give you. Yeah, we did. We later on in the evening, we'll get to that a bit later on. We went to one of the trust events, didn't we? And he did very well with that. But let's talk about Covent Garden. What were your thoughts on that? And obviously, we were all at Trafalgar Square 2 seasons ago. How did it compare? Was it the same? Was it better? Was it worse? Chris, what were your thoughts on Covent versus Trafalgar Square as a location for, let's be honest, what it was, a massive get together and gathering, and just a big party, really.
It was different to last time. It had its pros and cons, to be honest with you. Obviously, the difference with Trafalgar Square is that it's a big open space, really, so you can get in and out pretty quickly. Whereas Covent Garden, if you hit that bottleneck, which was outside of the pub, was it the Nag's Head, the pub?
Nag's Head, straight the tube.
If you walk past there, Jesus, that was hard work. That really hard work. We lost you at one point, Scott. You were holding Nicholas' hand, weren't you, just so you didn't get lost?
He's big enough. I was looking at him for the beacon.
So that's what we'll keep doing. We'll keep going, right, where's Nickel? Because Nickel towers above everybody else. We're going, right, where's he? Then we can find him. But you know what it is? I think it wasn't as cold. I think everybody was expecting to be freezing. Trafalgar Square was absolutely bitter last time. It really was. And there was more options for people to go and get drink, go have a piss if they want to have a piss as well. There's a few options around there. There's a couple of pubs in further afield. There's actually toilets that you could paying for toilets as well downstairs in Covent Garden. Robbing bastards, you had to pay to go for a piss. So obviously everybody was just pissing on the corner. I don't know. It had its pros and cons. It really did. I like I wasn't there for the fireworks. We had just left, hadn't we? But that looked mint. It looked mint on obviously the videos I've seen. But yeah, it had its pros and cons. It's just the atmosphere was completely different this time. I've said it a few times.
I think.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it was more chilled as well, though, Joe. It was a lot more chilled.
True.
It was just like a nice experience, wasn't it?
There were more pockets, weren't there, of people you would hit, like you say, you hit the bottleneck, then all of a sudden there would be a massive gap, and then people would be dispersed in different areas. And it's a bigger space overall than Trafalgar Square, but like you say, it's just in these pockets. So depending on where you were, but it was class. There would be some times where it felt like it was dead, and then you turn a corner, and all of a sudden people would just be everywhere. Yeah,
it reminded me. I don't know. None of you were at Dortmund, were you? But when we were not in Dortmund, but in Dusseldorf the night before, it was very similar to that, where it was kind of loads of little streets, and there was tons of bars around. And there was tons of people in the streets, but there was also tons of people in the little bars. Yeah. So it was very hard to get around. But once you got to the places, like the bars you were going to, you'd go into the bar and they were also rammed and full of people. So you were kind of you would turn a corner, just like you said, Joe, and it would be quite quiet. But then you'd go into a bar and it would be rammed full of people. Then you'd go out, either out the other side of the bar. Some of them were entering to one side, entering to the other side. Or you would come out and just maybe go around a little alleyway and it'd be just rammed again full of people, or you'd hit the main bit and it would just, you're trying to get through and you couldn't even, at one point in Covent Garden, I wasn't really walking. And I know that sounds really weird, but I had no control over the direction I was walking, which got me I was a bit scared at that point. When you think I can't stop if I want to stop, I'm just moving
in a direction.
At that point you think if I fall, I'm a goner. That's just how people get trampled on in crowds. But luckily, it didn't happen. Obviously, people were kids and that. You just think, why?
I was going to say, mental. Last with a pram, there was a lad with an 18-month-year-old on his shoulders. Come on,
18-month-year-old.
18-month-year-old. 18-month-year-old.
He did.
See, that's it. My brain's still frazzled from the weekend, man. I'm still processing.
It is.
Catching up.
Are you really surprised that they allowed it to go ahead in Covent Garden? Because obviously the police give a go ahead, and the shops around there couldn't have been happy.
Tiffany's wasn't happy, were they?
Tiffany's was not happy.
Prestigious shops around there. Tiffany, the poor security guard at Tiffany's was literally looked like he was about to be called onto the front line. Bless him. He's probably he started last week just as a part-time job because his pension's not enough to live down in London, and he was literally on edge. But all that walking through the crowd and stuff, think how hard it was when you had to walk like a scuba diver as well because of your stupid bird feet.
Well, that's your fault for not flying, you dafty.
Yeah, you should have flew over everyone.
Them wings weren't taking me off, like not with my how heavy I weigh. But I like that was a struggle in itself. And then people like pulling your beak. You didn't have this experience. I did.
I didn't see anybody pull your beak like.
Did you not?
Nah.
Literally, maybe he's got about 5 steps and would like boppers on the beak or like pull it or like, oh, look at this idiot. Trying to get a picture. I'm like, mate, I'm trying not to die, basically.
Then tourists coming up, weren't you, asking to take pictures?
Just random.
I wonder what their holiday photos must look like when they get home. They're just like, do you remember this? What was all that about?
There was when we're walking after Covent Garden, when we're walking to the coach house, there was like a group of people who were like, oh, can I get a picture? And it was very similar to the bloke in the service station where obviously you seen my whole outfit, but they were just taking a picture of my face, which didn't really look like anything other than a bird ninja. So no idea what they were doing. But I think
a lot of people confused, like until they saw the brown ale on your, on your shirt.
But I think I preferred Trafalgar for the atmosphere and like just how open it was. I did like how Covent Garden had the option of toilets, and I also liked how it wasn't as cold. So, like Chris said before, pros and cons. But obviously, after that, this is a nice little segue into the coach house with was it the Supporters Trust?
NUST, the Supporters Trust. Just a quick shout out to them. They did events Saturday and Sunday. Ticketed events for all the members. It was all free to get in. They just absolutely smashed it. Put on all these different pubs. I think they had about 10 or so for both Saturday and Sunday. They had watch-alongs. Obviously, the ones we had to on the Saturday night, they had DJs. I mean, we'll talk about it. They just absolutely smashed it. And I think to be honest with you lads, I think we all kind of were we're all kind of like desperate for a bit of a seat, weren't we? After a couple hours in Covent Garden, place with a pub, and it was class.
I think that's the issue that we had last time. We're at Trafalgar Square. We didn't really have a plan after that, and we're like, well, what do we do now? Like, we've been there for what felt like 4 days. But then, like at Covent Garden, obviously, everybody knows now that was Ian Stagdo as well. So I had arranged things later on as well, which was ideal because it got to a certain point and you could see people starting to disappear from Covent Garden. You're like, right, at least we have somewhere to go now. We're not going to be fighting to get into somewhere, which was ideal. And you know what it is? There were unbelievable hosts at the coach house, like including really the bar staff, the doorman, and the DJ was unbelievable.
He was class, man.
DJ was
he was literally playing anything you would ask him. You would just ask for. I mean, he was playing Big River at one point, and coming home Newcastle, and then mixing it into Darude Sandstorm, which I don't think any DJ has ever done in their life. It was unreal. And I don't know if they'd pre-warned him to say, look, here's a list of Newcastle songs that would, just really kind of appeal to these people that are coming in, or if he just kind of thought, well, I'll do a little Google search, or we were just asking for them. But
I'm not being funny.
Get it right.
I showed him my phone about 5 times with songs to play. I just kept on going, play that. And he was just stopping a song in the middle of it and just playing it.
Nice.
I think by the end of it, it was just like us lot, because you had, Andy rocked up, Mark rocked up, like everyone just kind of piled in at one point, and I think it was just literally the Gallagher shots by closing.
By closing, it was definitely.
I didn't appreciate with the DJ is, which again is a nice little segue to the challenge segment of my stag do. So basically, the challenges that had like a randomized wheel that I would spin the wheel that I had to press that would come up with a challenge. So one of the challenges was be a DJ for a minute, but I wasn't allowed to touch his equipment. So try to go over to the DJ, explain that, like, basically I'd just pretend to be a DJ, I think. And then he just went, took the phone, span the wheel again, and made us do 5 press-ups on stage.
That was the best.
I was just like...
That wasn't the best.
That wasn't
the best, Chris. The best was his first challenge, where he had to flap his wings for 3.5 minutes or 3 minutes, what it
Fly
was.
around like a magpie for 3 minutes.
I kind of
to the Chain by Fleetwood Mac. Which had just started. Like, 3 minutes is a long, long time.
It is a long time.
Like
Mate,
to
you were
constantly have to move. I was paggered after about 28 seconds. Now I'm convinced you were stopping
Like a Gallagher
the
pigeon.
stopwatch. But after that, like I genuinely couldn't catch my breath. Then just couldn't breathe for the rest of the night. So I was like, that just shows my levels of fitness.
You did
one
well,
of the
mate.
challenges
Proud
was
of
I think the first two were probably the hardest. I had to get 3 blokes to hold us up like horizontally. Is that horizontally?
Yeah.
To take a selfie. And bless, like one of them was actually lifting us. The other were just kind of like literally just touching us. So I could feel like me weight dropping, and this kid was literally like just shaking, trying to hold the weight of us. Got a shot both for us. That was one of the challenges.
I don't know how you managed that one, by the way, but anyway.
He nailed that one. He's got a video of it.
Literally went to the bar and he went, "Oh, hello, mate. You look funny." I was like, "Funny you should say that, man. My stag do. This is my challenge. You need to buy us a shot." He was like, "All right, no bother." I thought I would struggle with that because obviously London prices, insane. 5 roly-polies was another one, but I thought
I forgot about that one.
But yeah.
No, I've got a confession to make.
Oh.
The 5 roly-poly one, there was still quite a few challenges left. And I deleted the rest of them. So I just left the 5 roly-poly ones duplicated about 10 times because I knew it was the end of the night. So I knew for fine well you were going to get it. I think, was it you two that was stood next to us when I had done it?
It was me. I was the one. So that's the only one that you were doing.
Sorry, mate.
There were a few that we had to change up because originally they were going to be done in Covent Garden, weren't they?
Yeah,
I'm just trying to find some of them. Like
one of them was every hour you had to steal something silver because magpies like shiny things.
There was
one you didn't get to do, which I was gutted about. Was name
right next to Tiffany's.
United.
What do you mean?
One of them which you didn't get to do was name any Newcastle United current player. Name any Newcastle United current player, and the caveat was, which you wouldn't have known, is that the squad number of the player equals the number of hard drinks you have to have.
Imagine if I picked
Lewis Miley
or Lewis Miley, you'd be screwed, mate.
You'd still be mortal new.
I'm glad I didn't have that because I had slowed right down. But I think, to be honest, I think that support us just because it was all right. Covent Garden from maybe about an hour or two, and then it just, like you say, when we trying to move, it just like it wasn't fun. It just became like trying not to die. But the coach house
because of the bangers.
That as well, like without warning, just people like throwing grenades at you and stuff. And
yeah, me definitely lost a foot.
The supporters trust thing was really good, and the DJ was class. Like, so really, really good night. And then I think we ended up getting to a hotel at about 2 maybe.
No,
yeah, I think we left the coach house about 12:30ish. I think it was that we left there.
Yeah.
And then we rolled
anyway, I got back about 1 o'clock
into Sunday morning.
And then Sunday morning, come round to match day. So, Chris, obviously, you were the only one out of the 4 of us here who had a ticket. Being a season ticket holder, you were in one of the early pots. I don't know what pot were you in? Pot 2, pot 1?
I was actually in pot 1. Pot 1 mags.
Nice.
Yeah, I was in pot 1, but obviously I didn't get my ticket in pot 1. I waited until pot 2 because that's where everybody else was that I wanted to sit near. So our seats were meant to be fair. But Sunday morning was really chill for me and Decker. So we got back from the coach house. We ended up getting we went to end up in some chicken shop. I think everybody ended up in a chicken shop at some point over the weekend. And I thought I was geeked hard, so I got like extra hot sauce. And Jesus Christ, that took my lips off when I got home. Absolutely blew me face off. Me and Decker had a nice little romantic night. We had booked a room which turned out to be a queen size bed. So it was me and Decker in with bed. A nice little flat screen TV right in front of us. So we got back. We had our chicken date, and we watched First Dates on Channel 4 until early hours of the morning.
Get in.
So me and Decker had a lovely night. Then next day, honestly, really chilled because we were in Ealing, so just outside, because I had the car, so I needed to be like pretty close to Wembley-ish, just so I could make a quick exit. So yeah, we got up and we left the hotel about 10ish. Then there was a Weatherspoons just about a 5-minute walk from where we were. So went up there, had breakfast, had a couple of pints, came back, jumped in the car, drove the car closer to Wembley. Then from there, we decided that we're going to get the bus. Worst idea ever, because we just hit every bit of traffic leading up to Wembley, to the point where we're just jumping off halfway and we're just going to walk and meet the rest of the lads in the Arches, which is an Indian restaurant, which they turn into like sort of a sports venue when there's a game on as well, which was unbelievable. Went there last time. It was absolutely chocker last time, but it was lush this time. It wasn't as busy. I think they had stopped the amount of people going in as what obviously they failed to do last time. So it was nice. It was like obviously bumping in loads of people in there as well that we knew. Loads of people coming up that watched the channel and stuff as well, which was great. Decker was in his element as well because he was an Arsenal fan there as well. So he was tagged along with the Arsenal fan.
One of us.
One of them. But honestly, it was just lush. It was really lush for morning. Like, how did everybody else's morning go on the build up to it?
We started very similar. Obviously, different Weatherspoons, but we all ended up in the Weatherspoons. I think that was everyone's idea of let's find a cheap breakfast.
Absolutely round full of mags. So, just a quick caveat on that weekend. You couldn't turn a corner without seeing floods of black and white, could you? The entire weekend.
I'll tell you one thing. So much for there being a shortage of them. The originals gear, because everyone was in the originals hoodie or the originals jacket. So I don't know where that shortage has come from, because there was enough of them in London. There's so many of them. So I don't know where that shortage has come from. But I think I must have met about 50, well, not met, but saw about 50 Scousers that entire weekend. And compare that to the tens of thousands of Newcastle fans that you saw. You know, they obviously must. I think for them it's different.
Really?
And the Sunday combined. I think for them obviously it's different. That's that 10th Carabao Cup final, or their 11th. I think they were going for another 11, weren't they? So, you know, maybe it's not that big of a deal for them. Maybe they don't do a weekend of it. But even on the Sunday, we saw
a few. You know, like me and Dick, I saw a few.
We're
chatting to a couple lads on a Saturday night on the tube back. Then when we got back to the hotel, there was a few Scousers staying in our hotel as well. Then we went to the Weatherspoons on the Sunday morning. I would probably say that was split 50-50, and it was full of Weatherspoons. But
kind of makes sense, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because if they're going to be,
you were quite outside of the centre, weren't you?
Yeah.
If you're going to be going straight to Wembley, from Liverpool, you wouldn't really do what we did.
You wouldn't venture in the middle. Yeah.
Nah, absolutely not. But the Sunday morning, I went to Spoons. Ended up meeting up with like Mark and Adam and stuff, and I just basically chilled there for a while, didn't we? Until we had to go over to our pub over in Farringdon. So it was a nice way to spend the morning, quite chilled. I think we're all right, not too rough, a little bit tired, but we're feeling all right for it. And I think it was a mix, wasn't it, of people. I think it was kind of a split between people being nervous and then some people just being absolutely chilled. I think me and Trenchy, Ian's mate, were just sat there the whole time going, we're just going to batter them. It's fine. I don't know. I don't know what it was, like whether it was just a complete lack of expectation or just not really thinking too hard about it. But it was, personally, I just felt like really chilled that whole day up until kickoff. I'm interested to hear what, obviously the rest of you were like leading up to it. I know we kind of spoke about it, Ian and Scott, during the day, but I mean, what leading up to it, what were you thinking? Did your opinions change throughout the day? Was the build up getting you nervous, or what was it like?
Well, to be honest, because obviously I roomed with you and Trenchy, and all I heard from about 6 o'clock on Saturday night until kickoff is we're going to batter these Jacob Murphy 3-0 anytime. It started to make me convinced that. Oh, you weren't? No. I had a head and heart thing, and I thought my head thought we're probably going to get absolutely smashed today. My heart said, and I said this to a few people. I said this to the lads that I work with. I was like, we haven't had a late goal for a good while, and I think someone like Dan Burn will score from a corner or a free kick. So I had Dan Burn. I said I think we'll win 2-1. I obviously had Dan Burn to score the winner. I wasn't far off that prediction. Told Sophie, she was like, you could have put it on. You could have won a couple of grand. I was like, if I put that on, it would have came nowhere near because I've got that shit luck. So I'm glad I didn't put it on. But as kickoff especially when the team sheet got released as well, because there was a little bit of a debate about Pope and Dubravka, and if I'm honest, I was a little bit sceptical and a little bit disappointed to see Pope starting. I did think it was a little bit harsh on Dubravka as well, but I think obviously over the course of the game, Pope didn't really have much to do, but I think in terms of his sweeping ability and then that save that he pulled off from, I think it was Curtis Jones, the selection was sort of vindicated. So, but it, like when we went 1-0 up, like it was mental. Like I genuinely didn't really have time to process everything. I just couldn't believe it. Then it was a case of just try. Like I was like, we need to do this for another 45 minutes. And notoriously this season, we've only played like good in either a half or like patches of a half. And everyone's like, we're smashing these down. Like, how can you be so chilled? Because I wasn't at all.
I'll tell you what. Can I tell you what it was? Can I tell you what it was? I think looking back on this weekend, there was a mentality shift from absolutely everyone in the club leading up to it as well, right? I think us being in the final 2 years ago, and bearing in mind, obviously, that was the first time we'd been there in about, since 99 or whatever it was. I think 2 years ago, there was a sense of occasion and we were quite wide-eyed and quite overawed by the whole experience. It was the first time we'd all been down in a generation, went to Trafalgar Square, we all were like hyped up. And when the game kicked off against Man United 2 years ago, I think by half-time, the energy had just been sucked out of everyone because, not just because, the way that the game was going, but just the fact that it's like, oh, it's here now. Like, it almost just felt this energy dump. And yeah, to an extent, we were just happy to be there. There was a lot of emotion that was going through the press, the media, the teams, the family letters, all this kind of stuff, which, sentiment, in terms of sentimentality, it was lovely. But then you look back on it and think it was maybe putting too much pressure on the situation.
Yeah.
Whereas this time round, even the press wasn't as as amped up. The press conferences were still done in the same place. A lot of the day-to-day running, I think, of the club was not changed. And I mean, I don't know about you lads, but I honestly just, when I was going down there, I thought, almost ignore the fact it's Wembley, ignore the fact that it's a final, just get the job done. It's funny because, and I felt that just translated to everyone.
Every person that I spoke to on the Saturday, every person I spoke to on the Sunday morning, pretty much everyone that I was like interacting with throughout that weekend before the game, I would say 90 to 95% of the people were saying, yeah, 2-1, we're going to win 2-1. I don't think anybody had a different scoreline that they were predicting. Everyone was saying they were going to win 2-1. And I was the same. I was, throughout that weekend, was predicting a 2-1 victory. I didn't, have any goal scorers in mind. I didn't really, think anyone was going to score over anyone else. I thought personally it was going to go, we were going to get an early goal. Liverpool would equalise and would take it to extra time and win it in extra time. That was my personal opinion. But, I think enough of us kind of had that mentality of we are going to do it this time. Enough of us had the mentality of a 2-1 score, not a goal Anthony Gordon on everyone here. But I think that kind of, that positive mentality kind of
manifested it.
Manifested a little bit to what happened on the day. And I think that I'm not a believer in that sort of stuff, but it must prove something like that can happen and help with people, because nobody else, apart from you and Trenchy, Joe, was saying anything different than 2-1. Obviously, you had that crazy 3-0 Jacob Murphy anytime goal scorer.
No, I didn't put that bet on. I put Newcastle to win the cup and Jacob Murphy anytime. I didn't think 3-0. I thought maybe like a 2-0 or a 2-1. But yeah, I mean, Chris, obviously you were at the match and you sort of experienced it all sort of firsthand in terms of the atmosphere from the stands. I know that there's been a lot of discourse from I've seen some of the Scousers saying, complimenting us, but also criticising their own fan base because all the Geordies were out way before the whistle, before the start of the game. They were building up the atmosphere from the stands. I mean, I want to hear what it was like walking up to Wembley, how it all sort of transpired up to kick off.
So I was very similar to you guys. I was really chilled, and I thought it was just because I had a sober day really on Sunday with driving back. And I was like, I must be the only sober person here, because everybody was getting tanked up, and I was just like relaxed and chilled, and you could see people getting more and more pissed and more nervous as that was happening. And I was complete opposite. The closer I got to the game, and where the Archers pub is on the corner, it's only like a 5-minute walk before you hit Wembley. You just go around the bend, you check your tickets, and you're en route to Wembley. So I was really chilled, and I was talking to people, and I got stuck near Matty. Hi, Matty, who was through the roof, like as he always is. And he's getting, I'm nervous. It's fine, man. Like if we lose, we'll lose. It's all right. Like don't worry about it. Like nobody's expecting any sort of I don't want to say any sort of performance, because I think we're all expecting a performance.
Weren't expecting a result though.
Exactly. Yeah, there was no huge pressure on it. I was saying it all week. I went, it might be a good thing that there's no pressure. And obviously we're saying that we've had such a shit week. 2 weeks ago, when obviously Gordon gets sent off, then Hall gets injured, then we're full left hand side's gone. But then we get given a bit of light at the end of the tunnel when Trent gets injured. A PSG game, there's a bit of hangover off the PSG game. Like, well, it might just work. But yeah, going to the ground, the way we walked, because we could have walked just straight into the turnstiles, because where you turn around, but it's obviously the back of Wembley, the opposite side of where the Archers are. And we thought, we want to get to the Archers so we can get a decent photo. So we're walking past all the shops and restaurants and that, and it's split at that point. So it's Newcastle and Liverpool fans at that point. And I said this to, I think it was Brian that I was walking with. I went, if you notice the Liverpool fans, it looks more like a family day out for them. And like everybody was like with the young'uns and things like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But from a Newcastle point of view, you could see it was like groups of like lads and groups of lasses going to the games and things like that, were on like a family experience, which I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Of course, take your family, take your kids to the game. But I was just thinking, I thought that might play something in relation to the atmosphere. I thought that we might have had the upper hand there. So when goal 4 was taken, as soon as you got around the corner where the Archers were, it was just Newcastle, just full of Newcastle fans. And that's probably where the turnstiles that you go in, that's probably a big part of that as well, because you go up the steps to Wembley, then you turn right, and that's where our turnstile started there. You got in the ground. I think the reason why a lot of people were on the seating area before the Liverpool fans is because of the scarves. A lot of people went down because they were worried people were going to pinch the scarves. So people went down, hovered around there a little bit, then were back and forwards from the concourse. That's exactly what we did. We went in, we're going to get a pint straight away with everybody. And I thought, well, we'll go down and get our scarves first, just take a couple of photos, then we'll go back in. But it got to about 4 o'clock, and you could see the concourses emptying about 4 o'clock, which is obviously half an hour before kickoff. And you went out and you could see it was scattered from the Liverpool side. You could see big blocks where they just weren't there. And yes, like I would say about 15 minutes before kickoff, that's when the scarves started getting waved. And I'm thinking, like, watch your arms, like, because your arms are going to be knackered by 4:30. But it died down a little bit, but the chants were going. Do you know what really think worked in our favour as well? When you're in Wembley, obviously Liverpool were classed as the home side. Obviously, we know whatever. So all their montages, because we're playing montages from the run up to the final. So they're showing the highlights of each round, but not just doing it 5th round Liverpool, Newcastle. It was literally 5th, 4 quarter semis, but all Liverpool. Then that stopped. Then obviously with Newcastle being classed as the away team, ours were on just before the players started coming out as well. So I think that helped. That got we all ready for it as well. The noise, honestly, mate, the noise when the flag started getting rolled out onto the field, because Liverpool's goes out a little bit first, then we'll start booing it. Then ours goes out, and like the noise was electric. And Liverpool tried to start a couple of chants before the game, and we weren't out singing them with our chants. We were just literally booing and whistling every time they were getting a chant started, and they shut up straight away. They couldn't get anything going, and that happened right the way through. Like obviously the moments we mentioned this on Monday's show as well. Moments they had their surfer flag out, they put it out way too early, whereas theirs came down. War flags went right. ours go straight up. Then obviously we'd drop them from over the top as well. We had a couple of things like, let's get into them, was round one on the sides. Obviously we had the drown out one about the history one. We had the big server flag up, obviously amongst all the scarves as well. And I don't know,
there's a question come up about the server flag from Les, asking about, has anyone seen a video of the war flags display? Because as we saw in the bar, it wasn't on TV. There is an amazing picture. There's an amazing picture that at Wembley Stadium, they sent a tweet out earlier this afternoon, about 4 tweets in a thread where they've put some photos out of the day. And there's one picture where it's like a shot of the entire stadium and you can't see the Liverpool end, but what you can see is our flag, the waver flag on our ground with the write your name in, and then you can't see the other bit. But yeah, you can see the full book. So if you search for the Wembley Stadium Twitter account, Les, you'll see obviously it's not the video of it, but you'll see it in full. In fact, it's a really nice picture because you've got the flames going up and you've got all the middle bits as well.
I think all the Newcastle highlights, on the actual, the Newcastle YouTube channels and everything, I'm pretty sure their highlights show the war flags, not obviously Sky footage.
That hasn't come out yet, so I don't know if that's going to happen.
There was a couple of special moments, to be fair, lads, where like we're just outclassing the Liverpool fans. It's like there was a moment where they started holding out the scarves up as soon as they had done that, and there was a little pocket of it. Like we were just going, right, now watch us do it. Do you know what it is? Like hats off to Salah and war flags as well, because they've absolutely nailed it. We'll look at what Man United had done last time, and yes, visually what Man U did with the bucket hats and the scarves looked fantastic, but the noise just wasn't there with the Man U fans. But whereas they've shifted across to us with Salah putting the scarves out for her, and obviously the display which war flags had on, and we added the noise to it as a fan base as well. Yeah. We absolutely smashed it. We nailed it. We couldn't have done it any better, mate.
I mean, when you have things like that,
that picture that I'm talking about, I've actually got it as my desktop background on my computer, so I'm actually looking at it right now. But behind you guys, you look at the Wembley Stadium, right, and you can see the black and white in Newcastle, and you look at the Liverpool side, and it's all black with little dots of red. The Liverpool fans aren't wearing red at all. And I know there's a few Liverpool accounts that have been slating the fans, saying, why aren't you wearing team colours and all this and all that? And actually, when you look at this picture, it makes a massive difference to see black and white, but then it's black. It's like it's darkness. It's like there's nobody in that stadium on the Liverpool side, or hardly anyone in there. The players will see that. The players won't see a person wearing a black top. They'll see nothing. They'll just see little dots of red when they're, and that'll have a lot to do with the game and a lot with their mentality, thinking there's no one in here. There's no one in there. Why we're not?
I think what was quite telling as well. I'm not sure if I would have picked it up from any of the videos, but when the lads are coming out the tunnel, they didn't make a big deal about everything that was happening around them as well. So it was just like another home game that came out. Like obviously, Pope comes towards when obviously claps because that's where he needs to be. But there wasn't a big deal made about it. You could just tell that they were just treating this as every other game.
But again,
I think you see Dan Burn waving at the crowd, and that's it. That's the only thing that you see.
The fact that we went to this final 2 years ago, and the memory and bearing in mind the squad is pretty much still the same with 1 or 2 additions. Maxi wasn't there, Miggy wasn't there. You will have Tonali, but like for the most part, it was a very similar squad.
The same group.
The memories of 2 years ago will be fresh, and again, they won't be walking out on the Wembley going, "Oh my god, this is it." They'll be like, "We're back. We're doing this again."
Yeah.
But redemption. I've got a second chance. I've got redemption. I've got a second chance, and they know what to do this time. And honestly, I think we've said so much that in the first sort of 10-15 minutes, you can tell straight away what Newcastle's going to do, what Newcastle's going to turn up. And I don't know about you lot, but like I felt there wasn't a single point in that game near enough where I felt scared or threatened by Liverpool to an extent. Like they had a few chances, but at least for 15 minutes, I thought, well, I know for the most part, but I thought to myself, at least we've turned up. If we end up losing, I know it's not going to be because we bottled it. And typically when I get that feeling, it's because we're going to go on and win because we are.
It was a weird feeling though, Joe, because only Newcastle fan base could do this. Like we're 2-0 up, in the 93rd minute of a game, and I'm still thinking we might fuck this up. I'm like, I was sat near my sister guys like just keep nudges going. We've won this. I was like, hang on a second. I was like, just calm down. I was like, we haven't yet. Like, and I was getting more and more anxious as a full-time whistle came close, and it should have been the other way. I should have been getting more relaxed, but now I was getting myself worked up. Like the last 10 minutes, I was silent. Silent.
Half time, 1-0, and we're all in tears in the bar. We're all hugging each other, and I'm just thinking to myself, it's only half time.
Yeah,
I think I've peaked too soon here.
To be fair, let's talk about that first goal. Let's talk about the first goal, because when that went in, I mean, obviously we all erupted. Like,
oh my god,
the three of us, we're literally all in a big circle, just hugging, like, you know, sprinting up and down, doing the bar, like, because the bar that we won was just full of mags. It was literally like the stack, you know, and everyone just went ballistic. And then we're half time, and I think we all said to each other, we needed to make that count, because there's been so many times where we've been on top and we've not capitalized on it. I mean, there's been so many times in the league this season, just this season alone. And to get that goal, not only, it was the first goal, you know, that was scored at Wembley for God knows how long, but it was to bring us 1-0 up, and it was to capitalize. It was the first time we've been ahead at Wembley in I think in however many times we've been there, and to capitalize on it, on a fantastic performance, because the amount of times we've said Newcastle in the second half does not typically turn up the same way the first half of Newcastle does. I mean, I always get worried, because there's been so many times in games this season where we smash the first half and then we come out and then we let teams onto us. And then if we manage to hold on, typically 75, 80 minutes in, we'll probably like come back and then we'll have a second spell. But I know that Eddie Howe's turned to them and said, you need to keep this up. I think I read at one point, I read that at half time, he actually did something like that where he showed them the drop off, like
stats and graphs and stuff. Yeah,
right. So he's just reminded them, saying, you know, you've been absolutely class, but that's not good enough, because as we know, it only takes one chance for this kind of Liverpool team to punish you. We need to be on them, and don't give them a second or think that they can get back into this game. And for my God, like, for the most, like, up until that second goal, I thought we were still pretty class. I mean, did they have a chance? I haven't watched the full match back yet. Again,
they had one shot in the first half that was right at the end.
That hit the corner.
The Jota one that went flying straight after Burns' goal. But
the only other ones I remember them having is the Curtis Jones one.
True.
There was a couple of times
was that before or after Isak's goal? I think it was.
That was a 2-0.
It wasn't long afterwards, because it was just for 60 minutes.
But that was around 60 minutes, and if they score that, then it's a completely different last half hour.
Well, I think what helped with Ian is the fact that, do you notice everybody was making a big deal about how long the VAR decision took? Like, I'm saying, if it takes that long, blah, blah, blah. But obviously, it wasn't just checking the offside. Like, it was checking a few things that had happened in the build-up to it. What helped us is how long that took as well, because that just took took it all away from Liverpool. If that had been instinctive, then they would have been straight back up for it.
It also helps our players regroup and just get their heads back in the game and be like, okay, if they have scored, we're back on it. But there's no shock. There's no like, Christ, okay, we need to sort ourselves out here quickly. You can just be like, right, okay, let's just woosah and let's just get on with it again.
Woosah.
Before we get too far ahead of ourselves, so we need to talk about that minute-long period where Isak bangs in 2 goals, right? I'm still not convinced. I think Mark said this on Monday night. I was fuming when I got disallowed, because we said in the bar, Kelleher gets down, makes the save. He's not impaired by Bruno really at all.
You can see the shot.
It feels like when I checked Tio, he got his goal against Man City disallowed, and it felt like, are you joking me? Like, there was, because Gouffran was impeding at that time, and you think, like,
I personally
he still went down and made a save.
Yeah, I don't think so. If take Bruno out of the equation, if he's not there, I don't think Kelleher makes any more of a save.
That's what I'm saying, right?
And then it's obviously Isak that scores who's onside. So I can see why they've given it. 100%. But I think realistically,
You know what's really annoying though? When you watch the
way
highlights back, they don't explain that to anybody. They go
No,
like,
that's
they put
what
the
we
lines
were
on.
saying.
Like,
We
I'm
said this,
looking
didn't
that
we?
he's clearly onside. Does he explain it?
The
And
ball.
like, why did the ref
'cause-
not come out and explain why it was disallowed as well?
Because
When he did
Do you know
for
what I'm
Liverpool?
waiting on as well? They
That's
still
what
haven't
we
shown
said
the
at the
shot
time.
from behind the goal. The said on the commentary, oh, we'll see the shot behind the goal and we'll see exactly how close it was. I haven't seen a single shot of that from behind the goal at all. So that would be nice to see, like, just how in line he was and how much impeding he was of that shot. You just haven't seen it. So yeah, it would be nice to know just how much of it he did see and how much he was actually affected by it.
I mean, it's all a moot point now because
it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter at all, does it? Because
can we just wax lyrical about Isak's goal here, right? So, what was brilliant, right? And I think what we actually spoke about on the Sunday morning was we said Eddie Howe was going to get into Tino Livramento and say to him, you need to use that left foot because you didn't do it enough on Monday. There were multiple times where the ball was put to the byline and Tino wasn't making the run or he wasn't confident using his left foot, so he cut in. But I'd massive credit to Tino for like having that confidence to say, I'm going to, ping these balls in on my weaker foot, because Barnes to Tino, over the top. Murphy, I know Andy Robertson's not the biggest lad in the world, but Murphy did so well to get that accuracy on the header and that finish. I think when that went in, my reaction to that Isak goal was different to the Burn goal, because the Burn goal was like jubilation. It was like, oh my God, we've scored and we've capitalised. But when the second one went in, I think that's when I started getting really teary, and I thought, we might actually do this. Because at that point, we had still dominated. We had just had a goal disallowed. We were on the up and we were still battering them. And I think at that point, we were all just in a little bit in disbelief, weren't we?
I think I was shouting at the telly, that one counted. That one.
You went, that one counted! You can't disallow that one, man! Chris, being in the stadium, because we obviously I'm interested to hear the Burn goal celebration versus the Isak goal celebration. Was it just more limbs, or was it more? Was there a sense of potential?
I think it was.
The fact we could get this over the line.
I think it was exactly the same, mate. Exactly the same. Because honestly, when that Burns header, it felt like it took days to hit the back of the net. You could see he had tried it a couple of times beforehand, but it was opposite side to where Newcastle fans were, so it's a canny length away.
You're full,
it's a full side, a full eye. So you see his run, then you see him smash it. Then obviously the ball, obviously bottom right hand corner, the keeper's right, and it was wild. Those ones that was limbs. That the Isak one, I think it just caught everybody off guard a little bit, because we had just had the one disallowed. Then he comes in, he scores that one, and the header down from Murphy is spectacular. And that header to get it back across to Isak, and the finish from Isak as well. I think it's so underrated, that finish, because he nails it. He really does. But then once everybody had realised they hit the back of the net, then it was unbelievable. You saw people just running in all directions, whereas the first one, everybody was just jumping together all around each other. The second one, you just saw people run, but I think it was people realizing where other people were sat that they knew, and I think they were just running to celebrate that moment with them, thinking, we might actually do this. Whereas the first one was get in, we've gone one up.
Just pure
the second one was shit, we've got a bit of breathing space, and at that point, you were already in the second half, so you weren't worried. On the back of the Burn one, that Liverpool might come out and play better the second half. You didn't have that worry. You're thinking, right, we know we've got them. They were making subs left, right, and centre, and you're thinking, what are you doing here? You're just literally winging your game plan here and just throwing as many attackers on the field as possible. And you're thinking, the only thing that's going to take it away from us right now, being 2-0 up, is individual mistakes. That's the only thing, because we were so comfortable in that, completely controlled that game from start to finish. And I think, yes, when the second goes in, you're going, right, breathing space. We can be a little bit calmer now, but was that shit? I wasn't. And you could sense it in the crowd. Honestly, it got we were loud right the way through, But I would say from the 90th minute when we saw the 8 minutes go, because we knew there was going to be quite a long time added on, it went quiet because I think everybody was just nervy at that point. And understandably so, because you're thinking, if we can't get a major trophy being 2-0 up in the 90th minute of a game, I was like, we're never going to win one. We will literally never win one. If they come back,
that's exactly what I was thinking.
It did in the bar as well. In the bar, there was chants, but they were nowhere near as intense or as loud as they were earlier. People were chanting, but it was more just like I'll sing along,
just to try
but
and
I'm
keep
not
morale
putting my heart and soul in this. I'm just because I'm so nervous. I don't really want to chant. I'm just watching the game.
Everyone's choking up. Yeah, I think everyone was slowly starting like choke up, like with the emotion of it all, but also just the nerves as well.
I mean, scarf that around my face at one point. It was around my face. I can't watch it.
Like I'm doing.
I mean, don't forget, we should have had 3 or 4 as well. You know, like Isak almost got that.
We should have battered them more.
Murphy had a close shot at 2-0 as well. That just whistled past the post.
Fabian smashed that one as well.
The Sandro shot early on, Harvey Barnes should have buried a couple as well. I mean, second half he should have took a shot. I mean, we had plenty of chances.
I know, and like we say, when I mean, obviously the individual mistake from Bruno kind of did end up costing us that goal, but. I said to you, didn't we? It got like 96 minutes and we're still playing. I turned, I was like, Newcastle United's never going to do this the easy way.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to do it, but we're still going to make this easy for ourselves.
What I really appreciated about sort of, say, 95 minutes onwards is how professional and mature the performance was. So there's been, I think it was actually that Liverpool game where they scored in the 98th minute or whatever.
98th minute, Carvalho.
If I remember rightly, around about 96 minutes, Joe Linton's heading into the corner and flashes one across the goal for no one to be there, rather than just keep it in the corner. They then go up the other end, get their corner and score from it. There was a couple of times when I think it was Willock and Wilson could have went clean through on goal to try and get a third. But they had that little bit of composure to be, no, we're going to see this game out. They kept it in the corner. And then, obviously, I think
it was when Wilson had the ball.
Yeah, and you could see in two minds, he was like, he's like, no, I'm not going to. I'm going to. But, like, we'll talk about what happened. Like, when that full-time whistle went and everyone realised that it was done, like, I've never seen so many grown men crying. Like, the lads at work I work with, they're all Sunderland fans. Like, wouldn't dare cry. It's like, but you, like, obviously for all of us here and for even people sort of 20, 30 year older than us, they've never seen a cup win or anything like that. So just to have that and like share it with everyone else who's in the same boat was unbelievable. Like I took about 5 minutes to like actually for it to sink in, and then went and FaceTimed my dad, who he's seen the the European Fairs Cup, but he was watching it with Joey, which was a nice little moment. So I got to not be with him, but share that with my dad and Joey. So that's something that I'll remember personally. But then I think it might have been Mark was saying, I've seen on Twitter a few times that like you've had 3 generations. You've got like Granda, the father and the grandson all together watching it, all in the same boat, and just sharing that moment was absolutely unbelievable. And it's like that's what means so much, is because we've never ever experienced anything like it. And like I didn't know how to act. Like I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how I was supposed to feel, but it was just like the most like purest feeling I've ever felt in terms of
you're not supposed to feel anything though. You feel however you feel at that time and moment. Like you can't control that. That's pure emotion. That's just how it is. If that's what you do, that's what you do. Those Sunderland fans who know I wouldn't cry, they will, because that 100%. Will happen.
You know what it is.
I didn't know how I would react when it happens. Whatever happens to you happens at that moment in time, and that shows just how much it means to you. And if you don't do it, doesn't mean it means any less to anybody else. It's just that's how you deal with it. It's just how you have an emotional attachment.
Yeah, it's in that single moment when like every single person like in the wider community in North Tyneside, like your family, your friends, anyone you're kind of associated with, like they all come together as one, and it's like all connected in that one moment to celebrate that together. And I said this a full time, and I know I've seen quite a few people say it as well. And a lot of people share the same sentiment when we all spoke about it a full time in the bar. You know, I said, like, this one is for everyone that wasn't here to see it. You know, it's been 70 years in an entire like lifetime of like people that haven't seen us win a trophy, and like, God, I'm setting off here. But you know, you start thinking about all you know, your family members and that, in friends, in whoever it might be that, like, you know, you've shared moments with, and football is such a connecting part of like your family and who you are, and you know, for those who are outside of football and that, like, if you don't grow up with it, like, obviously, you know, you like, it's hard to sort of articulate really, but you know, when it's such an integral part of like your DNA and who you are, you just think back to like those people, and you just think that was for them. So yeah, really emotional time, emotional moment, and it was honestly just absolutely beautiful, and it's been so nice.
It was lush inside Wembley, because everybody had the individual stories out that were there. Not obviously just at Wembley, but everywhere. Everybody had their own stories leading up to that moment. And do you know what it is like everybody knows that, like, I'm really close to Mark. Like, Mark's like one of my best mates, the same every single week. And Mark was in the row in front of us because we had 6 tickets, and we got a row of 3, like 3, then 3. So we're in like a block, because we'd rather do it that way rather than like a row of 6. You can't really talk to each other that way. So we thought ahead and did it that way. And Mark was just in front of me, to me right. And I could see him before the full-time whistle went. I could see him, like, he was getting emotional, like really emotional. And he kept on looking up at the sky, bless him. And he had his uncle to the right-hand side of him. And he wasn't the only one. You were looking around, like you said, you could see just grown men just like filling up, not necessarily crying at this point, but filling up. You could see like the eyes had that torn over them, and you could see them just filling full of tears. And like you mentioned before, 3 generations, that those of old fella behind me, and he was there with his son and his grandson, and like they had that moment together inside the ground. And like every time I looked at Mark, and like especially when the full-time whistle went, me and Mark were just hugging each other, like not even saying a word, just hugging each other. And he honestly, I've never seen anybody cry so much. Like, he cried for like a good half an hour. You were stopping, then a couple of minutes later, you're starting again. And every time he was crying, I was filming. I was like, Mark, you're going to have to stop. I was like, you're killing me here. I was like, you've got me in bits. And like, he was trying to talk and he couldn't talk. And I was like, mate, I was like, just enjoy this moment. I was like, and I said, mate, I'm so thankful to like spend this like moment with you right here. And like, honestly, I didn't stop hugging him. I just keep leaning over, just hugging him. I couldn't get enough of him. It was lush, man. Absolutely lush.
The nicest thing about the whole thing, obviously, great winning the trophy, but I'm so glad it's this Newcastle team that's won it. So you've got like Eddie Howe, who came in at, like, you had the people on Talk Sport who were laughing at the fact that people wanted Eddie Howe in. Like myself, I've questioned him at times. And it's sheer vindication of what he's trying to achieve and how he sets up. You've got like the players that took the risk when we won 19. So the likes of Byrne, the likes of Trippier, the likes of Bruno, who we were shooing to be relegated, and they came to the club. Some took less money to fight to get to a sort of up the league. You've got players like Joe Linton, who had a really tough time when he was centre forward, now moved into a different role. Jacob Murphy, who, yes, has his moments, but his trajectories went up. And then you've got like say the local lads like Byrne, like Lewis Miley, like Sean Longstaff, who have been in there that, I know it sounds so cheesy, but literally have wrote themselves in the history books of the club. So it's just so nice that it's this Newcastle team that's won it after the journey that they've been on. And you get fans of other clubs saying, oh, it must be nice spending all that money and blah, blah, blah. But like, they haven't been like watching Newcastle through a microscope like all of us have for the last 10, 20, 30 years or whatever. So to see that, and to see finally some success, and how much those players have grafted and how much they've given up, I think that's probably the best moment of the whole cup win, is that it's this side that's, and this team that's won the cup.
100%, mate.
Absolutely.
100%.
It is. I also want to say, I think the club have played a blinder since with the staggering of the content that they've been putting out. There was a hell of a dump of content on the Sunday and yesterday, and then they've just continued with just putting out little bits, not loads of stuff, not like in your face. There's so much to watch, but it's almost like every hour they'll just keep just putting out. Here's a photo, here's a little video, here's this, here's that. I think they've done really well with that, and and like I said earlier, Wembley Stadium put out some photos. They're really good. I'd recommend you go check them out. Carabao and the AFL Cup. The AFL Cup have put out a behind-the-scenes video, so if you're waiting on the match cam, that's not out yet from the club, but Carabao have a behind-the-scenes video, which is good enough for now because it goes even into our dressing room.
Is that the one with Jacob Murphy? Is he running about with a GoPro?
I think
Has anybody seen that video yet?
John Ruddy's got a 360 camera when he's going up into the...
So I think Murphy's got something similar at one point,
right?
Because he goes up when everybody's celebrating. He just starts running towards the Newcastle fans with this massive camera on a stick.
And
and he's just right there amongst like the fans. He's about that, like honestly, a couple of feet away from them. And he's just running around in circles.
Nice.
So that's coming. I don't know who it was, but that's coming from somewhere.
Tell you what is worth watching if you haven't already done so. Where we lift the trophy up in the gantry, whatever it's called. Sky have released that in 360. So if you get it on your phone, you can pan left and right on your phone and watch it all. The reason that's good to watch, two reasons. Right at the beginning, you get to see Trippier and Bruno literally go, wait, we need to get Jamal in, and they get Lascelles in. But also when it goes all the way at the end, they go bring it back. Longy hasn't had a go yet, and they make sure that it comes all the way back so Sean Longstaff can have a go at lifting it up. So you get to see them actually orchestrate the players and make sure everybody in the line has a go at lifting it up on the top. So it's good to see just for that and see them actually all have a go. And I think they've also done it. There's another one which I haven't watched yet, another 361 in either in the dressing room or somewhere else. Sky have got them on their channel. So there's a load of content on. I'm plugging other channels here, Chris. I'm sorry, but there's a load of other content from the club and that.
I'm making notes.
It's so much going on there.
Can I just say, right? Asula is off his tits, isn't he?
He
was front and centre of everything.
He loves it, man.
Honestly, he's like a Jack Russell.
Dan Burn celebration.
Like he's
first person,
Chris, man. What are your thoughts on Gillespie and Ruddy getting a medal?
Like everybody gets. I want a medal.
But like,
order them. You can get them 25 quid to sell them online.
Absolutely mental. But I'm
pleased Miggy got one though. I'm pleased Miggy gets a medal.
And he got Messi's shirt in the same day, so it was a canny day for him.
He did.
Can Maxi get one? Can we send one to Maxi?
I don't know. Does Maxi? No,
definitely can't give one to Maxi. I'm just saying. It's like, do you know what it is? There's certain players that have been part of this journey as well. Like,
like Chris Wood.
Give Chris Wood a medal.
Does Lloyd Kelly get one? Did he feature in some of the earlier games? He'll get one, won't
he? He definitely Wimbledon.
Was Wimbledon?
He played at Wimbledon,
Chelsea.
didn't he?
I'm not sure, yeah. If fucking Keith Gillespie, he's not got one.
Keith Gillespie, does he get one?
If Mark Gillespie's getting one, surely
Lloyd Kelly gets the wrong address. Keith Gillespie's getting a medal. Anyway, from one final to another, it's time to wrap up a long feature that's been going on Canny Chatter. For those of you who don't know, we've been doing something called the Scranpoins League. It's been a feature that Ian invented. I don't know, were you in the bath? Were you in the toilet? I can't remember where you were when you invented this one.
Hope he wasn't in the toilet.
Hope he was having a shit in the bath either. But Ian, I'm going to let you tell everyone about it, and I'm going to do what I do every time. I'm going to swap around. I'm going to go. You're going to go. You're getting the power. There you go. You can take it away with the Scranpoins League, mate, and we'll get this done and dusted before we wrap this one up tonight.
Thank God. So, obviously, some may say that this is the biggest final in the last week coming up. Basically, the idea was the old format of the Champions League. There was 32 teams, I think. I can't remember. We had 8 groups of 4. We played them off against each other, went into the knockouts. We are now down to the semi-finals. The way it works, so basically you have a fixture, and then you'll discuss. It's the best version of the meal you've had. You then vote. Any vote that you make is a goal. So say if 2 were voted for one meal, 2 were voted the other, that would be 2-2. Because it's the knockouts, we have to have a winner, obviously. In the group stage, it was fine to draw. In the knockouts, and most importantly, the semi-final and final, there has to be a winner. So this is where I called on the members of the channel that got involved with it. I was putting polls in the Telegram group as a tiebreaker, effectively. If that was tied, I then went to the Gallagher Shots team for the cast and vote. If that was tied, I didn't know what I was going to do. I hope I don't end up in that situation, especially at this crucial stage. So just to quickly recap the quarters. So mixed grill, seen off spag ball. Chicken gyros went through on the members vote, so they scored an extra time. Carbonara beat fish and chips, and the fry up beat kebab wrap again in extra time through the members vote. The biggest travesty of this whole thing, and I blame having certain folk on this panel. If I had the All the Smiling Faces panel, garlic bread special would have been in the final. Unfortunately, there we go. Thank you very much, Chris. Garlic bread special went out without getting a single point, which is an absolute travesty.
No. I need to interrupt these proceedings here because you wouldn't let us vote for garlic bread special because we hadn't had it before.
Yep.
And I think that's where the channel is wrong. I think as an initiation or as a requirement to be on the Gallagher Shots team, you will have to have a garlic bread special.
Right, we'll post one.
We don't get them down in Newton Aycliffe, but I made me own of that. Yes, it was a bit shit, but I made me own because that's how true to garlic bread specials I am. But yeah, the kebab wrap got the furthest out of the kebab. Kebab pizza, that's the best. Anyways, I made the live draw for the semi-final. So we had carbonara up against mixed grill, and we had chicken gyros against fry up. I've kind of made, I know who's voted in case it does go to deadlock. Well, we're going to have Harry's vote, but he's off to get his suit measured, not for Wembley, for my wedding. So we don't have to do that anymore because we now have Chris. So we'll have the 4 votes. So without further ado, the first semi-final is carbonara versus mixed grill. As always, I'll kick it off, and I am going to vote for mixed grill. And I'm going to go to my fellow hat wearer guest tonight, Mr. Chris Wallace. What are you voting for?
Do you know what it is? You couldn't have picked a better replacement for Harry on this because I'll probably vote the complete opposite to what that absolute idiot was at some point. I'm with you, mate. Mixed grill. Carbonara's not getting anywhere near like this. They can piss right off. Mixed grill, mate.
Joe?
I'll go to Italy. I'm going to pick carbonara because I love Italy.
He has
I don't know because I do. I am a slut for pasta.
Dickhead.
I love pasta. You know what? Because I know what Scott's going to say, so I'm.
Oh no, you can't have your vote.
No,
You
that's
can't
match
have your vote
fixing
based
that.
on what. Yeah, that is match.
Doesn't know what I'm going to say.
Yes, he does.
Well, tell you what. Sack it out. Right. Well, I'm going to say carbonara.
Of course, you're shock horror.
Scott, very important vote here. Will you crown the first finalist ever of the Scranpoins League, or will you send it to extra time? What are you
No
going
pressure. I feel like no, I'm not gonna say it. No, I'd mix grill all day long. I must say it was very close because I was in Rome a few weeks ago and I did have a carbonara with black truffle and it was unreal, but it wasn't a patch on a mixed grill so mixed grill all day long.
quite
Right, can I
comfortably.
just address something? Yeah, right. So,
Yeah.
is there any other country that people go to and they come back and bum their food as much as what they will in Italy? It's only here. I went to Italy. Oh, I had lush pasta. Like, fuck off, man.
Because it's
Greece
come
is
up in
pretty
topic.
good.
I wasn't that impressed, if I'm being honest, with the food in Rome.
Oh, really? Get in.
Take it or leave
So
it, to be honest.
I've got
just on
nothing
the
against
subject-
Italians or anything. Yeah, just like
Can I just say, me dad's side of the family are Italian, and me nana used to make better food than what I had in Italy.
Wow, that's
Just
statement.
putting that out there.
shout that.
Yeah, but she
Just
was
while
Italian.
we're on-
I mean, there was that side of it. So But anyway,
Just while we're on mixed grill, right? So I went to what's it called? It's some Lebanese restaurant. Oh, the Bake. It's in Bishop Auckland, but I think there's one in Biker. So I had a mixed grill from there. I've had mixed grills in Greece and also England. I've had a Turkish mixed grill as well. Like those other countries' mixed grills are absolutely phenomenal. But if you had a mixed grill in England, you get a bit of gammon with pineapple, maybe it's a lamb chop, a sausage, and a dry chicken breast. Why are we so terrible at mixed grills? But every other country is absolutely
because it's so expensive. Because the meat is so expensive over here. That's why. That's the only reason.
Brexit.
Although I must admit, I was once in Turkey and I asked for a mixed grill and I asked for the steak to be rare, and the bloke went, "Do you want the chicken rare as well?" I was like, "No, mate, I'm good, thanks. Can you make sure you cook that one well done, please?" I know. It nearly swayed me vote, actually, but no.
So
carry on.
Just to wrap the fixture up, literally. So I'll include Harry's in this because it doesn't matter. He voted mixed grill. The members, they also voted mixed grill. Yeah, he voted mixed grill. Mixed grill.
There's a shock on Chris's face. He's went blurry.
And then the Gallagher Shots team went mixed grill. I think Nickel might have been the only one that voted carbonara. But I digress. So one finalist has took its place. Now time for the second semi-final. So we've got chicken gyros against a fry up. I'm going to do it in reverse order now. So Scott, you can take the proceedings.
I'm going chicken gyros.
Who did I go? Oh, Joe, what are you going for?
Could be fry up, mate. Could be fry up.
Ooh. 1-1. Second half, Chris.
Sorry, what were the options again? Me and Ned's gone.
Chicken gyros or a fry up?
Oh, fry up all day long.
Ooh. Well, then I have a very important vote. And I'm actually going to send it to extra time because I love a chicken gyros. Acropolis in the Metro Centre is unbelievable. But because my last holiday was in Greece, I had about 8 in the space of 5 days or something. So I'm taking it to extra time, which goes to the members vote. So members, this is where you either are the salt of the earth people or you haven't got a clue what you're talking about. And I can tell you...
Depending on who's watching.
No, depending on the way this vote goes, from my personal preference. But I can tell you the members know exactly what they're talking about because they have sent through chicken gyros after extra time.
Wow.
That one
What
was
a
a
shit
really
final
cool...
this is.
Mixed grill against chicken gyros.
It's Chelsea Tottenham all over
Shittest
again.
final ever. Shittest final ever.
I mean, well, you should have been on podcasts where we had garlic bread special in the run, and you would have got your way.
Worst.
Actually, now that I'm Googling it and I'm seeing them again, yeah, no, fair enough. I'll give you that.
You need context on that, Joe.
Sorry, I'm just Googling chicken gyros again. And I'm looking at
okay.
Chicken gyros. Yeah. And I'm like,
Blue waffle, you typed in.
Oh, no, hope not.
So with
that's a good
the
one as
members' vote, that was very close. I stopped looking at the results before recording, so I think it was like 56-44, whatever. So it was very, very close, that one.
You're ghosty.
There's a ghost in
Ghost in your house.
It's the ghost of chicken gyros.
Sophie's just come in and Jackson, my dog, has opened the door.
I I honestly thought you were
Gallagher
going to say Sophie's just crawled past on her hands and knees.
Well, like that BBC interview.
No, there you go. There's her on.
Yeah.
The Gallagher Shots team voted for Fry Up, and it was a heavy victory for Fry Up. Not surprising with the amount of English patriots that we have in the group. So,
what are you trying to say?
Are you referring to Mark?
That's not an idiot.
So the first and potentially last, because it's been an absolute mission to get this done.
Shambles.
Scranpoins League. So
$2.99 a month, by the way, if anyone wants to join that group.
We have mixed grill against chicken gyros. Now, because obviously this is live and I didn't know who was going to go to the final to put the poll in, the way I did the poll was just put all 4 foods in the poll. Whoever got the highest vote, this is if obviously it goes to extra time, whoever got the highest vote in the poll out of the teams that were in the final would be declared the winner. So without further ado, the 2024-2025 Scranpoins League final will kick off with mixed grill against gyros. I'm going to go with Joseph first.
Chicken gyros.
Ooh. Chris Wallace.
Like I don't agree with this final. To be honest.
It's not my favorite. They're not my favorites either.
You vetoing your vote.
This is what's going through my head right now.
It's a disgrace.
I was like that when Galway Speckle went out, and then the next week, Pizza finished second. What is going on?
I'm gonna have to go mixed grill, but it's like choosing between gonorrhea and chlamydia. That like,
I wouldn't say that bad.
Yeah, that's not my favorite. It's like not even close. I'm so disappointed.
Your favorite syphilis?
Aye. Nah, disappointed. Mixed grill.
Scott.
I'm gonna go mixed grill.
Ooh. Oh, that means I've got the deciding vote. You know what it is? I started this competition. Will
Are you
I
ending it?
Who knows? Well, I might not. I might make the members end it.
Ooh.
So, I am going to say, out of the two, this is. See, for me, it's really hard because I really like a mixed grill, and I really like a chicken gyros.
Seems like a fix to me.
If it was a fix, it would be kebab. There'd be three finalists, and it would be all the kebab family. So I can't look past.
Did they live on Pit Away?
I can't look past the meal that I had on holiday.
Why is it always got to go to holidays? Oh, I had this on holiday. I want to muggle up. That's why I was voting for fry-ups.
Because the food on holiday in an authentic place was much better than in Beefeater's version of it. But I am going to say...
This is the best version? That you're going against your own rules, yeah?
Fair point. But anyways, this means this is the best version I've had. I am going to crown Mixed Grill the Scranpoins League winner.
Hang on. Where's my button gone?
The champions!
Cheers, Decker.
Scrampions.
See, there was not one single celebration there from anybody.
I know this is.
I'm celebrating out. There was another final a couple of days ago. Which one
took 6 months to do, and that end result was the biggest anticlimax in the world.
It's like, do you know when you watch like a really good series and you think, "Oh, this is fucking unbelievable," and you get the last episode and it's the shittest thing in the world.
Sons
That's
of
just what's
Anarchy.
happened. Yeah, that's what's happened.
This is Sons of Anarchy.
You know what's going to happen though? You know what's just going to have to happen? We're just going to have to do it all over again.
I'm not
For
doing this
desserts.
again. Tiramisu, absolute winner if we do desserts.
Absolutely not.
Ooh.
Anyway.
Oh,
I
tiramisu.
like a tiramisu, but it's not.
It's
That's
got
not
the,
getting
it's
cramped,
got
you
the,
know.
it's
Yeah,
got
you
the
could do this
texture
for
of cement.
everything. I know it's called Granny Chatter, but we could do it for anything. You could do it for movies if you wanted to.
Ooh. I'll have to come up with a clever name instead of Scranpoins League. How many people are watching? About 4?
40?
44.
Fuck off!
I,
Really?
Don't tell them to go. They'll stay.
Yeah. What's people in the comments saying? Comment what
Not a
would
single
your
thing.
be?
I think people have just left
Yeah.
the telly on and left the rooms. If I'm being honest
Fair
with you.
play.
I think
Fair
so.
play.
I think people can't believe
well,
what they're watching.
Again, so the members voted mixed grill as their highest one. The Gallagher Shots team voted for fry up as their highest one, but then second place would have been chicken gyros. So a bit of a carbonara finished bottom across the board, which shows you how shit of a semi-finalist that would be. It was like when Spurs beat Ajax and then ended up like playing Liverpool and getting dicked. But yeah, that sums up drinks.
That's true.
Oh, can't
D
declare.
drinks.
We could do drinks.
Gyros was for Blue Rhythm Boy.
Look at that. He's said out of the options, which means the options were shit.
Absolutely.
I love how Ian. I love how you blame me for like most of the options here when none of these were my favourites. I didn't choose any. Of these.
Well, you picked steak Florentine. No one knew.
A Florentine
That's
steak,
such
man.
a Tory steak. That
You also picked
story.
elderflower cordial and quinoa.
Tory
I didn't
steak.
say that.
When we were on Monday, went to McDonald's. I got a breakfast wrap, nice stable. He was go, "Oh, have you got any muesli?"
Fuck
Big
off,
Tory.
You're getting done here. You're done here, Joe.
You do like your Tory scram though, don't you, Joe? You love your Tory scram, like
You do like
all the food you put in the group chat. I immediately see and they say I can't afford that because that's Tory.
like was it pancake day? You put in savoury pancakes.
Yeah, I know. Who has savoury pancakes on Pancake Tuesday,
Had
man?
peasants? Didn't he not have peasants in his pancakes?
Peasants.
Peasants?
Oh,
No,
pheasant.
actually peasants.
Oh, peasants.
Peasants.
Not pheasant.
Get fucked.
But yeah, that concludes.
He's got no defence. He's got no defence.
What can I say? Hey.
I mean, Liverpool are hardly like. In fact, they're very anti-Tory. You would. I tell you what, you would have been right at home in Westminster where we were on the weekend.
I'm not Tory.
Texting Richie Sunak.
Richie and Joe, why don't you do your own Scranpoins League?
Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, people are gonna
Eat
think
out
I'm
for less
actually
or whatever it
Tory
was
and-
called.
You better stop.
Eat
People
out
are gonna
to
start
help
thinking I'm
out.
actually Tory.
See it. Stop it.
Well, what an
Anyways.
end to the whole.
What an end to the
To the
Scranpoins
competition.
League. Scranny Chatter will resume to
Public
normal
execution.
service next time on Canny Chatter. We'll just talk random crap about random food. Or we might just change it up. It might change just talk about something else. Well, who
It
knows?
was mainly because I was running out of food topics to come up with, to be honest.
Well, we could hit
Hence
the
the
reset
very,
button and
very
go back.
prolonged. We could, yeah.
Well, how long are you on? How long? I'll not ask how long we're on honeymoon for. People might rob your house.
Well, I accidentally keep calling it a holiday. And I
Is
you
it?
can't keep calling it a holiday. Well,
It
I
is a
suppose it
holiday?
is.
It is. It's
What else is it? It's a
directly-
holiday. It's a holiday with your
I
lass.
keep calling it a holiday.
Yeah.
Oh well, I'll be very well travelled in terms of food. I can, because I'm going to Thailand. I can eat like the scorpions and the crickets and stuff, so I can tell you all about that.
There's
when we're
no
next
way you are going to try any of them. You're the most pickiest person in the world. There's no
This
way
is
you're
This
going to
is
say them.
wait, when in Rome.
You're not going to Rome?
When in Phuket, I'm going to Phuket and Fiji.
Don't finish the rhyme.
I don't know the rhyme.
Tell you that.
I'll let you figure it out by yourself when you're in Phuket.
All right.
Okay.
I
I think that's a good time to end it, lads.
I might try a scorpion. Who knows?
Well, if
Or
you do,
just
don't eat the
McDonald's.
tail. Don't eat the spiky bit on the end of the tail because that's the dangerous
Going to
part.
Thailand, you might be eating some tail.
Well,
Right, that's a good time to end this.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for watching. Honestly, if anybody has any stories about their trip to Phuket, about your Wembley weekend, let me know in the comments below. It's really nice to hear and read everything that everyone did over the weekend. And if you even if you stayed at home and you watched it with your friends, your family, let me know. If you watch it on your own, and let me know. Just share your stories because it's really nice to read everything about what everyone did watching that magical weekend. Because We've all now got memories that we'll share and savor for a lifetime. So let me know in the comments below, and let me know in the chat. Hit up on Twitter, hit up on the socials. What did you do for the weekend, for the final? And what did you think of the Scranpoins League? Let Ian know. Hit him directly, because he's the only one who cared. No, he wasn't the only one who cared. We all cared, really.
Actually hit him directly as well.
Hit him directly, yeah, with a big stick. And if you've seen him on Sky Sports News, he wasn't the child catcher on Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. It was a magpie. And don't, yeah, and he wasn't Fathers for Justice either. It was just Ian. He was a magpie. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching. There's been around 40 to 50 people watching throughout the night. Thanks everybody. Record breaking, yeah. It must be that new cup smell, that new cup feeling of a Champions, and it's a Champions League win in there. When won the Champions League of a Carabao Cup win? That's a Scranpoins League in my head there. That's the next one. We'll see you in a year when we've won that one as well. But we'll be back after Ian's trip, after Ian's holiday, after Ian's wedding.
We're at Ian's wedding as well in a few days' time.
We are at Ian's wedding, yeah, in a couple of days. I'm off to the airport in about 4 hours' time to fly back to Newcastle. So I'll see all of you in the flesh in a couple of days. And I'll see everybody else in the next episode of Canny Chatter, match preview, whatever, and everyone else. We'll see us all as well. So if you've liked this, scroll down, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed. If you want to become a member, it's $2.99 a month. And if you listen to this on an audio service, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever it is, give us 5 stars. That's all that we ask for. There's tons of content on this channel at the moment. Chris, you've just recorded something with Decker?
I have. Earlier this afternoon, me and Decker have recorded a mini podcast. We've done a few of them in the last couple of weeks as well. So there's another mini podcast which is available to members right now.
There we go. He's not going to tell you what it's about. You have to find that yourself.
No, it's called Paul Scholes a Prick.
There we go. What more do you need? Go and watch it right now, because that sounds like an absolute banger. We'll see you all in the next one. Thanks everybody for watching. Ian, you can wave. This one's on video because you wave every week when it's audio only. Yep. Well, yes, we are champions. We will see you all in the next one. Bye bye.
Canny Chatter is sponsored by Tyre Spot, the North East leading tyre supplier with branches across the region. Tyre Spot don't just do tyres, they cover everything from servicing to wheel alignment. They can handle every aspect of your car's maintenance. For more information, visit tyrespot.co.uk. Enjoy the episode.